fundraising and engagement with personalized video. Michael, could you go to the next slide, please? Great. So just a couple quick housekeeping things before we really dive into today's content. Yes, we are recording. This is our most popular question, so I'm going to answer all of it for you right now. We will be recording, and everyone will receive a copy in an email after the webinar. Yes, also everyone is on mute in this webinar. If you have a question, please put it in the chat box or the Q&A feature. We have a couple pauses throughout the webinar for questions. We would be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. We also have contact info for our speakers at the end of the presentation if you have really specific questions or want to learn more later. Or if you're anything like me and you think of your questions after a conversation is over. And actually, we are not having a post-webinar survey today, so you don't need to worry about that. So who we are, here's who we have on the webinar today. We have Michael Hoffman, our CEO from C3 Communications. Michael, you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone. Great to be here. Thank you, Brianna, for setting this all up.
Great. And we have Noelle Beebe from Alzheimer's Association. Noelle, do you want to say hi?
Hey guys, happy to be here.
Great. And I've already introduced myself. I will be the one managing the chat box and questions. Feel free to also send me some one-on-one questions through Zoom. Always happy to make sure that you get the answers that you need. And let's dive in. Michael, I will kick it off to you.
Great. Thank you, Brianna. So just introducing myself, I'm the CEO at C3, founded C3 after spending a few years doing venture capital, starting internet companies, and really interested in how digital and technology could help the causes that I cared about. And that's really where C3 comes from. Noelle, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit as well.
Sure. Hey guys, this is Noelle Beebe. As I said, I'm the Director of Digital Fundraising for our constituent event programs at the Alzheimer's Association. So I manage the overall strategy for all of our digital pieces for all of our constituent events, including Walk to End Alzheimer's and The Longest Day, which we'll talk about today.
Great. Great. So it's a little bit of a rainstorm here in Chicago. So if it's hopefully not too noisy in the background, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about C3. We are a digital agency. We work for some organizations that you've heard of and probably some that you haven't. And we help them with strategy really around communications, around digital. And then we have a set of tools and tactical implementation things that we help on. So what we'll talk about today, personalized video, is both a part of a strategy, which I'll talk a little bit about, and also a sharp tactical tool to boost fundraising. Noelle, do you want to say something a little bit about the association?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not familiar with us, the Alzheimer's Association is the leading voluntary health organization for Alzheimer's care support and research across the country. We've got our two main signature event series, again, that I'll talk about today. Walk to End Alzheimer's. It's the largest event in the country that funds Alzheimer's research, care, and support programs. And that takes place across the country in 600 different communities. And then we've got our Longest Day event series as well, which is our second signature event. Became our second signature event in 2014. And it's more of a DIY program. So we've got really two different scenarios in terms of peer-to-peer fundraising today that we're excited to talk about.
Great, thank you. So I want to just introduce this just a little bit about how we got to personalized video and where it comes from and the philosophy behind it. So one thing that's just important is that video is a tool. You can do things with video, but making a video isn't a strategy. And we've had organizations call us many times and just say, we need a video, but that not being really grounded in strategy. And I think what we'll see and what Noelle will talk about is, the strategy around peer-to-peer fundraising and how this tool fits into there. But partly this is just about video, and we know that video is really powerful. And so when video is used in email, people open the emails, right? People want video content. That's something we know today. I think I just saw a stat that said 90% of Facebook content will be video by next year. And we're already seeing that happen. And the big challenge is, of course, how do we get this video content when video is normally very expensive to produce, and takes a long time and is expensive. And that's something we've been thinking a lot about at C3. So we know click-through rates increase when video is included. We know that videos help in acquisition and in transactions. And so we see that both from the nonprofit world and the for-profit world. And I'd be happy to share with you some of these stats. I wrote a couple pieces on Beth Cantor's blog. If you search video on Beth Cantor's blog, you can find some of them with some of these stats. And so, we know that video moves people to action, and certainly that's true, even more true, the younger you go down the age thing. So, but also we need to get people's attention in a world of just a tremendous amount of content. And so, in a way, it's like trying to yell at somebody that you recognize across a stadium. It's really hard to be heard. That's kind of what this world is today, where we have so much content coming at us from all over. How do we break through with that content? And so really that's the big question is, how do we get heard? How do people look at us? And I think what personalized video does is it takes a single asset, a single video asset, and it turns it into multiple videos. In fact, thousands or even hundreds of thousands of unique videos. And so it turns a single experience into a unique experience for different people in the audience. And that has an impact. And we know that personalization has an impact. And so we're doing at C3 is not just saying, here's this tool. We're really saying, well, what's the strategy? How does it fit? What's your workflow today to get people to do this? Where are the breakdowns in that? What's the opportunity to boost different aspects of the process where people are reaching out to their friends and trying to raise money, and then helping to create that campaign, helping to create the messaging, and then actually implementing that. How do we integrate the tools to the things that you have? How do we get the best analytics that we can get on the back end? These are all the things we're thinking about. We're not at C3, we're really focused on impact. For us, victory is not about, you got the product. It's really about, what did it do for you? And so just a little bit about how this works. The way this works is that we have a video template, essentially. It's a little bit like mail merge, right? We have a template video, and in that template, there's spaces for the data that we're going to populate into that video with, and that data comes from your CRM. So if you use TeamRaiser, which is a popular a tool for peer-to-peer fundraising, we integrate with that. If you use Classy or you use Engaging Networks or you use some other thing, whatever it is, you have some kind of database that is housing the information of your participants, and we tap into that database in one way or another. And what I mean by that is whether it's through API or it's through an export, where there's lots of ways to do it, and we pull that information into the video, and then are able to message your folks that they have it and show them how to use it. And this can be used both in a peer-to-peer context, which Noel's going to talk a lot about, but also in any other context for fundraising or engagement or advocacy or upgrades or thank yous or anything. And I think as I show you some examples, you'll get a sense of different ways that this can apply. And so what this allows us to do is to create video files on the server side, and then push those files anywhere we want. And those become individual videos. So we can produce, as I said before, hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of unique videos, all based on the same template that can be used in different places, on social, on websites, in email, and the like. So what can we put in those videos? Well, we can put anything really, that any data that you have in your database we can use. So that is often either the viewer's name, or in the case of peer-to-peer, the fundraiser's name. It can be a fundraising goal. It can be their last gift amount. It can be a gift string that you're asking them for based on their last gift amount, right? It could be a particular issue or campaign that they care about. Again, anything that's in your database that you could do personalization for in a different context, you can also do for here with personalized video. So again, if you have the data, we can include it. I think just a note of caution here, more doesn't mean better. And I think this is something we've learned over years of working on this, of doing different ones for different organizations. More cool bells and whistles, more complicated video, more different data points don't necessarily mean that it's more effective. There's definitely a diminishing returns point where it gets more complex to create and doesn't necessarily have additional impact. And so really thinking about what is it that's going to move our audience to action, that's the most important thing to think about, and then build around that. So it's really starting with the strategy and then moving to the tactics. Let's not let the shiny objects, drive things for us. So we know that audience responds to personalized content, and this is really core. If you consider yourself a donor-centric fundraising operation, this is essentially that, which is how do we really focus on the experience of that donor? And in the case of peer-to-peer, how do we focus on the person who's asking, which is what we know drives peer-to-peer results. And so it creates a scalable one-on-one appeal, and allows us to break through the noise. And it still has a bit of that wow effect. People are used to seeing personalization in different ways. They're not used to seeing it so much in video. And so there's definitely an aspect of it of that's cool and I'm paying attention. And we see this in different surveys. There's lots of data. Just pulled this particular one here, that when content is personalized, donors feel more engaged. And those of us who do this, and you in your own work, I'm sure know this as well, that being able to connect, feeling like the organization's talking to you, having things that are really relevant and on point for you, those are the things that create good fundraising. And so we see personalized video as part of that strategy. So if that's the strategy you take, this is a natural tool for that. And so it really answers this question of sort of what's in it for me? Why should I care, right? It's not just about you, your great event or whatever. It's about my friend who's raising money in the event, or it's about me and my role in finding a cure, or my role in helping people, or whatever your cause is. It really focuses the attention of that donor or potential donor. So this can be used in peer-to-peer fundraising. As I said, the example today that Noel's going to talk about is peer-to-peer, but there's other areas where this can be used: email acquisition, sustainer upgrades, as you see, donor retention. So any place where a few percentage points of growth would have a big impact to the bottom line is a place where I think personalized video could be extremely effective. And so this is an example. The Bridge conference is coming up. If you go, please seek me out there, and please say hello to C3 there. And what we did for Bridge was they had a database of people who've attended the Bridge conference in the past, but haven't registered that yet this year. And that's kind of a perfect example of something that personalized video could be used for. So we did a personalized video that not only said your name, so if you're in that database, it says, "Hey, Michael, I want to talk to you," and it has Michael in the video. It says, "Hey, 2016 was the last time you were at the Bridge conference," or 2010 was the last time you were at the Bridge conference, and you need to come back. And so And we can actually just look at a little bit of that video.
Hey. Yes, you. It's been a while since you were last at the Bridge conference. That's 1,000,000 years in internet time. You have big goals for your fundraising, and you'll never reach them unless you think big, think bold, and take action. I mean, seriously, how is your organization going to succeed in this new world of fundraising? It's time to come back to the Bridge conference. Discover new tools, insights, and inspiration to energize and elevate your work. Hear from the world's leading marketing and fundraising experts who will give you new perspectives and insight as a marketing and nonprofit professional. Network with over 2,000 of your peers, well, perhaps not all 2,000, who are also passionate about making the world a better place. Listen, it's time to come back to the Bridge conference. What are you waiting for?
So you can see Alicia here is the one who is this being personalized for, and actually her organization was included in it as well. So we had her name, her organization, and the last time she was at the conference included here as well. And so you can see this, the equivalent of this in something like fundraising might be lapsed donors, or might be a donation upgrade, something like that. And so we've used this in a bunch of different circumstances. There was a campaign focused on email acquisition and really on advocacy for the Sierra Club, which, again, people who are willing to dive into that experience, we had incredible numbers. I mean, 72% of people who watched the video opting in with their email. Those are crazy numbers. Those of us who do this, without this tool, often know, that number is really high. And we've used this a lot in the peer-to-peer context. And so for the American Cancer Society, we did a lot of original video content. So there's an example of somebody in the video, they hold up a newspaper and it's got your name on the newspaper. And that's a powerful type of thing to do. We also have done animated versions. So this is an example of a whole animated video. The nice thing about animation is that you control the whole experience. Everything is exactly the way you want it. It takes more time and costs more dollars than doing something with existing content, which we'll look at. And just to notice about that bridge video I showed you, they sent us a couple, a hard drive with some B-roll, right? And we created a new script, added some music, did a voiceover recording, and there you have a new video, essentially with no new shooting. And Noelle will talk to you a little about the process that we did with the Alzheimer's Association. So I'm just going to pause a second, see if there's any questions before we continue. And you can put those questions, I think, in the chat area, I think.
Yep, there's the chat feature. You can put a question in there, or you can use the Q&A. Both are available at the bottom of your screen if you have any questions. Okay, well, I'm going to continue. Brianna, feel free to interrupt me if there are some questions. Yep. Excellent. So I just want to check the time. Good. So I'm going to turn it over to Noelle to talk a little bit about how this was deployed at the Alzheimer's Association. And I think can I pass this to Noelle somehow, or I can unshare and she would share her screen. Is that right? Or I can drive. Noelle, whatever's easiest for you.
I guess let's just keep moving and you can drive, Michael. I'll just tell you when to click the next. Okay.
Great.
Cool.
Actually, do have one question.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a question from Eric. What software are we using to make the videos in particular, and what software to distribute?
Well, the videos, so we're a video production house, and so we make the videos here in using traditional video editing software. There's no special thing around the video itself. We have our own, in the back end, we have our own proprietary system for doing that mail merge, for adding that data. but the output of the video is a standard video. It's an MP4 file, and that can be hosted in any particular way. That can be hosted on Amazon Web Services. It could be hosted on a third party on what they call an OVP like Brightcove, or it could be even hosted on YouTube. Though if you have a lot of volume and you're trying to upload them all at once, YouTube will give you some trouble. So these are just regular video files, and there's no special special need to host them in a certain way. Once they're created, they're like any other video file. And so what we would do is work with you to say, do you already have a system for hosting your video content? Are we going to use that system? Do you need another system? And work with you to have the best solution for you. And I think, Noelle, that's something you can address, sort of how you made those decisions in using the product.
Sure. Okay. So as I mentioned before, I work with the Alzheimer's Association, and we've got these two different peer-to-peer fundraising events that we were looking for ways to promote and provide people with more fundraising tools. The longest day is our most recent. It's a DIY program. It culminates on the summer solstice each year, which is June 20th or 21st, depending on if it's a leap year and what time zone you're in. We've learned a lot about the summer solstice with this event. And basically the theory behind it is that you can do anything that you love to honor someone you love that is facing Alzheimer's or has faced Alzheimer's. So really we're asking people to develop their own event and promote it, and they can really do anything. And we really wanted to get that point across as well in our videos, that, you know, this isn't a walk, it's not a run, it's like you can really do anything, and it's all about coming together and doing an activity together. And then we've got our walk event. As I mentioned before, we're in 600 cities nationwide, and we've got over 500,000 participants across the nation. Both of these events, we host our digital fundraising piece using Blackbaud's Luminate TeamRaiser product. And we've been doing that for about the past 5 years. So next slide. So why did we choose to use personalized video? If you're like me, you've probably tried everything. If you're a peer-to-peer fundraiser, you really just want to get more tools into the hands of your participant, keep finding new things to keep them engaged, finding neat ways to say, hey, we've got this new cool thing for you. What's the shiny new thing to keep them coming back for more? So we really wanted to expand that fundraising tool set for them. If you're familiar with TeamRaiser, it's all about you register online for the event, and then you set up a fundraising page. And then they give you a set of email tools to email link to that page out to your friends and family. So email, you know, I feel like we're kind of in a post-email era, in my opinion, and we really want to move forward with more social and mobile-first fundraising strategies. And personalized video really created a great engaging way to provide shareable content to our participants. And it also takes the ask out of their hands. You'll see our video in just a minute. But if I have to come up to you and say, Michael, I'm raising money for the Alzheimer's Association, would you be able to donate $100? You know, I might have a lot of anxiety about doing that, versus I can put a video out on Facebook that says, Noelle's raising money for the Alzheimer's Association. She's trying to raise $1,000, you know, give today. It takes the onus off of me in a way and puts it out there, and it just makes it super simple. So in terms of social content, one of the things I love most about this project was the side effect I had with the social piece. You know, at first we thought, oh, we're creating a video and the video is going to be really cool. And in the end, I was blown away by the fact that when I post my video on Facebook, here's a screenshot of what you see. Noelle needs your help to show love for those facing Alzheimer's. And if I had specified who I was honoring there, it would say the honoree name. So it would say, Noelle needs your help to show love for Grandpa George. And so we have this really great, rich piece of content that people can post out on Facebook or Twitter or whatever social piece they're using, that people can watch the video or not, but they're still seeing that and they know what it's about just by looking at it. So just love that piece as a side effect. Next slide. Okay, so how does it work? I think this can probably work a bunch of different ways. So I know, Michael, you and your team have a video production team. You can send video teams out to go capture and produce videos. We already had a bunch of video assets and photo assets here at the association. We send film crews out to a couple of our walks and a couple of events for the longest day to collect B-roll and create things like fundraising videos and recruitment videos already. So C3 actually took the B-roll that we had on file and used that to create our personalized videos. So there was no additional cost to sending big video crews out into the wild. So that was really helpful. And then we sent that over to C3 on a hard drive, and we had a kickoff meeting with them to talk about our goals, what fields we wanted for personalization. For us, we use first name, so the first name of the participant, the person that they're honoring, and then how much they're trying to raise. Those are really the three most poignant pieces of information we felt that we could get from them. So we actually asked them during the registration process, who are you honoring by participating in this event? And then we can reproduce that in the video. Then we kind of go into, we also provide all of our branding information, what we really want out of the video, how we want it to look, feel, sound, high energy, serious, that kind of thing. And then we go into scripting and video production. And Brianna or Michael, do you guys want to talk about that at all?
Sure. I mean, I think, in terms of video production, we're, as Noelle said, we're taking existing assets and creating a new video, and it's really about the messaging, working closely with them on the messaging, making sure it's compliant with brand standards and, all of those kinds of things, and just really working together to make sure that the messaging works. And I think our role in that is to be kind of the advocate for the impact of the personalization, to say, hey, we need to show this, we need to show it here, we need to show it for a certain amount of time. Because in the end, we want to see those results. And so we have that experience, and that's sort of what we bring to the table, and working very closely with the organizational team, to find that balance where the video really works on all fronts.
Great. And so once we have the video, we Brianna can attest to the fact we go through lots of rounds of keep back and forth, making sure that everything is exactly right and exactly how we want it. So they've been very patient with us. We go into the technical integration piece with TeamRaiser and Amazon Web Services. So the technical integration, that's that pulling the data from Luminate, putting it into the video, and then having those videos hosted on Amazon Web Services. And what we do with that video is we actually put it on the personal page of each of our participants. And then we send them an email with that video. You'll see a little bit more about that in just a bit. We launch it, put it out to the wild, send an email to everyone saying, hey, you've got a video on your page, go forth and share. And then we start monitoring and reporting. So another great thing about this, as I mentioned, our walk has over 500,000 participants. Depending on the month, the day, the year, that can scale from 2 people register to you had 10,000 people register in a single day, and the ability to use AWS to scale the volume as needed. And then you kind of get charged for what you use. You don't have to, pay a premium on that. And then we track our progress using Google Analytics, so we can identify who's sharing their video. And one thing that we learned, I'll talk about this again in a minute, is also using source codes in Luminate to be able to tie revenue back directly to the video itself. So the technical integration, as I mentioned, the video lives on the fundraising page. On the right-hand side here, you can see an example of our walk fundraising page. It says Mary Lou's walk donation page, and the video appears there about halfway down her page. And then Michael, if you click again, I think there's an animation here. You'll get a light box with the video in it, and then you can share or donate here. So if I click share, somebody's going to come back to the page and see this video playing in the light box automatically. There's a URL append so that when they hit the page, it just starts playing. So that's the first thing they see. And then you can either click to donate here directly, or you can close out and look at the rest of the page. The participant registers for the event. In the background, after they've registered, while they're clicking around their participant center, that video is getting created and posted to Amazon Web Services, and then they get an email once that video is ready to appear on their page. and it lets them know their video is ready. So it's another engagement piece for us too, to be able to say, hey, thanks for registering again. Now this video is ready, go forth and share it. And they can update their video field. So if they put their name and they, go by a nickname, or if they want to say, instead of Noelle is fighting Alzheimer's, I could say the BB family is fighting Alzheimer's, or Team Awesome is fighting Alzheimer's, whatever you want it to be. So you can change the name, the goal, and the honoree, in the participant center anytime. So this was our first video for the longest day that we produced last year with C3. Do you want to show that one, Michael?
Sure. Let's go.
What's your passion? Ours is fighting Alzheimer's. This June, people everywhere will turn their passion into action, doing what we love for those we love on the longest day of the year. From sunrise to sunset, around the world, we're dedicating ourselves to having some serious fun. The goal? To raise awareness and funds for the fight against Alzheimer's, and show the 47 million people around the world living with Alzheimer's and those who care for them that they are not alone, that we will never give up. The longest day, one day in the fight against Alzheimer's. Passion in action. Join the fight. Donate now and honor those who face Alzheimer's.
Yeah, so that was our video last year. And we can talk a little bit about results. So we had a video for the longest day and a video for walk in 2016, and then we've redone them again for 2017. Of course, we're just kind of in the thick of things for 2017, so we don't have our final results yet. But for 2016, as I mentioned before, we didn't really identify a great way to tie the revenue back to the video precisely. We could see who shared their video and how much they raised, which was great, but we couldn't say this person watched the video and then clicked to donate. So we've updated that for 2017 and are excited to be able to see the exact dollar amounts. That was one of our lessons learned last year. But we did see, so 94% of those participants that shared the video went on to become fundraisers. So they raised $1 or more. And then participants that shared that video raised 2 to 3 times more than participants that didn't. So we really could see that this was making a difference. It was a tool people were excited to use, and it was driving them to fundraise.
Noelle, do you, because the video is on every page, page that's created, could it be having an effect overall that's not necessarily about the sharing of the video, that's changing the experience that donors have when they land on those pages?
Yeah, I think absolutely. It gives the donor one more thing to engage with. It reinforces our brand. It kind of shows, as I mentioned with the longest day, it's kind of sometimes hard to explain what that event is. And I think the video really shows them more about how the event fits in overall with how you're fighting Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, obviously people can click from Facebook where the video was shared, come back to the page, close out of the video, and then click around a little bit more to see my personal story. So we definitely know there's additional revenue that's attributed to the video that we can't necessarily tie back one-to-one. We just know that, the experience and our fundraising has continued to grow, though our participant base necessarily isn't growing at the same rate. So I think it's been really successful.
Great.
Yep, and so as I mentioned, we're right in the thick of 2017. The longest day of the year was last week, so forgive me, but I have not accumulated all of those results yet. I don't have them to share right now, but we will come back to that certainly over the next probably month. And then Walk to End Alzheimer's, our high season is in September and October, and so we'll have more results on that at the end of the year.
Noelle, how did you change the video from last year this year in terms of, is there anything you learned about the video itself that you would say you thought about adjusting?
I think so. Even going through the video development process and the scripting process, it becomes very clear, like, okay, well, we know we want to open with a personalization as quickly as we can so they know there's something different about this. You know, you want to have the name there so they're like, oh, wait, this is cool. It's not just a regular video that everybody's going to see. I'm seeing Jennifer's name here. And then we always want to reinforce it at the end because we want to have, you know, that high conversion rate to be like, oh, hey, don't forget you're doing this for Jennifer, you know, not just for the Alzheimer's Association. So I think there are definitely pieces like that. We like to keep our content fresh from year to year. We went through rebranding last year as well. And so this year we were able to update, you know, the kind of the look and feel of the video to match the look and feel of the website. I'm trying to think if there's any other lessons learned that we were excited about, but.
Yeah, I think that's great point, you know, about getting right to the personalization up front. I think the other thing I've been thinking about in other uses of this tool, for example, upgrading a first-time donor to become a sustainer or something like that, you wouldn't have to refresh the content as often because people are only in that circumstance once. So for example, you know, a thank you for a first-time gift or an upgrade path or something like that. So it's interesting that there are, you know, differences between how this would be used in different circumstances.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Noelle, for that. That was terrific. So, you know, I think just talking about key takeaways here, you know, we know that personalization has impact. We know video has impact. This is a tool for that. And clearly in the peer-to-peer context, you know, the idea of why are people giving is so connected to the person asking that if it's all about cause and not about that relationship, you really lose something. And so by combining the powerful emotional, you know, video can carry a lot of emotion, as you saw in that longest day video, and you can, you know, get all the feels in video, and combining that with that connection to that person, that's really where the power of this fits. And as I mentioned, you know, there are other ways in which other ways that those same elements become really valuable as well. So I want to pause and see if there's any questions. Any questions for me or for Noelle?
We have a question from John that says, you might cover this, but how does pricing and cost work?
Sure. So there's really sort of three elements to the cost. One is the production of the video itself, right? So if we're using assets that you've already created, that's obviously significantly less than if we have to go out and send camera crews and shoot things. If we're doing animation, that's a different cost as well. So that's one piece is, you know, what's the video? The second piece is the technical integration. We have to create that way to pull that data out of the database and do that work on the server side. So there's cost built around that. And then the third is that Amazon Web Services cost, that ongoing server cost, which I would say, Noelle, would you call that, it's not quite marginal, but it's a small piece of the overall cost of the project?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, I could give you some ballparks, but it really depends on where we are in our event season and how many videos are being created. I think in June, my bill for probably 5,000 participants was like $500. So it wasn't huge.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you have one of the biggest programs.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like 500,000 participants. Yes.
Yeah, so I think
about the scale.
Yes, so you're really at the top of the scale there, and folks would be so, you know, just ballpark costs, you know, video, technical integration, and all that, it works out to somewhere around the $35,000 range, and so, you know, we've seen, you know, my feeling on the peer-to-peer side is that if your program raises anywhere from $1 million or more, this is going to return orders of magnitude back to you. If you're under $1 million program, I think, you know, it depends. And, you know, part of the issue is the lifespan. So, you know, I'm thinking about creating a new one every year. But if you have a way to create one you know, obviously the creation costs is where the heavy costs are. The ongoing costs are light. So if you have a way, as I said, to create something that you can use for the longer you can use it, obviously you can amortize those costs over a longer time. Any other questions, Brianna?
We do not have any other questions.
Excellent. Well, I want to just very quickly tell you about another tool that we have at C3. If you're interested in this, just send us an email and let us know, or subscribe to the C3 email, and we're going to be doing some demos. It's called GV1, and it's from Gather Voices, which is a company that is a sort of sister company of C3. And this is about capturing user-generated video content. The way that it works is it allows the organization to push requests to people to their phones. It walks them through recording the video that you want from them. It manages the rights. It returns that video to your desktop where you own the rights to that video and can publish it. So this is a way, this is the other leverage. So personalized video is one way to create thousands of videos from a single video asset. The other way to get the videos that we need to fill this, you know, insatiable need for video is user-generated video. Let's have our best activists, our best donors be the voice of the organization. That's really what peer-to-peer is as well. And so Gather Voices and the GV1 platform allows you to really have control over that process, to ask questions, to get the right videos back, to own those videos, make sure people hold their phones the right way, those kind of things. And I'd be happy to share details of that with you. Also want to let you know we have a webinar on Giving Tuesday that's coming up on July 19th. Brianna is going to be hosting that with our friends at CCS Fundraising, and that'll be the 19th at 1 o'clock. You can see that bit.ly link there, and if you're on the C3 email list, you will get a reminder about that as well. Okay, and here's my contact information, Noelle's contact information. I want to thank you all for joining us and taking time out of your day to do it. If you are interested in how personalized video could be useful to you and want to talk it through with us, just send me an email. There I am, or give a call here to C3. You know, as I said, we're all about impact, and I will be the very first person to tell you that it's not a good use case, or that you should be thinking about something else. And I will also be the first person to tell you that this is going to raise you some money. So feel free to reach out to me. And if there's questions that you have about the Alzheimer's Association, about the work that Noelle's doing, then you have her email here, and and you can follow us on Twitter as well. Noelle, anything else you wanna add?
No, thanks for having me today.
Great. Okay, thank you all, and have a terrific rest of your day.